Hey everybody, my name's Stone Rain Productions, but please feel free to call me SRP if you'd like. And I know, I've done Padme a couple times. I really like this leader a lot. I have a little bit of a soft spot, and I'm going to just say that this is my final version because I've been playing with this and I really like it a lot. I even have a sideboard that I'm pretty happy with, so I figured I'd just go in and go through everything one more time and we'll call it done after this, unless there's some major innovation or a different aspect. But alright, so what we're doing is we're playing with Padme Amidala from Secrets of Power. She's a 6 deploy leader that's 3/8 and has the ability when you reveal or discard one or more cards from her hand, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit. When Padme deploys on 6, she's got the same ability except there's no exhaust, so every time that you discard one or more cards or reveal for disclose one or more cards, you get to deal the 1 damage. And that's why we're pairing Padme with Tarkintown, so we can pick off units. And Daring Raid is something that I've added recently, and it really helps out a lot in the early game. I've actually finished a couple of games off with this. This list is very, very aggressive, and I just recently got rid of the R2 because I think it's the worst of our turn 1 plays, so I just decided to get rid of it. But Daring Raid has been very solid. It also works as a backup with Tarkintown if we need to. Hotshot DL44, just another surprise strike type effect where we can play it from our resource row and get an attack in for an extra 2 points of damage. Just allows us to swivel it out for 3 since we are cutting, no problem there. Bail Organa has been solid in the deck, so we're just going to stick with it. I've had no issues with it, but it's a 2/4 on attack. We can discard a card from our hand, and if we do, we get to create a spy token. It's just been solid. I really enjoy this quite a bit. We are discarding a lot of cards ourselves here, but we are getting stuff for those discards here. In this case, we're going to be getting a spy token. Sometimes you want to pair or really plan your attack when you're going to do this so that your spy doesn't get just kind of gunned down on the next attack, but it's been good. You could probably switch this with MiGs if you wanted to, but I don't think that there's enough consistent discard outlets to run that main at the moment, and I've got MiGs in the sideboard. Next up, we've got Chopper, 2-cost 4/1. It's a legendary, and when this unit deals combat damage to a base, each player discards a card from their hand. This is especially good against more mid-range or controlling style decks, just to get an extra card out of their hand is pretty fantastic. I think everybody who's playing Red in Heroism is playing Kara's Nemec, and if you don't know it, this is one of the absolute biggest cards in the set for set 6. 2-cost 3/2 with Hidden, and it has, when it's defeated, you may disclose aggression, heroism, and if you do, you create a spy token and ready it. So you get basically 2 units for the cost of 1. It's just fantastic. You get in and attack something, or something attacks us and kills it. You get your readied spy token immediately, and then you can either go back in and defeat the unit that defeated Karis, or you can just get in, hit for 2. It's just awesome. The Warrior of Clan Ordo is probably the best 2-drop for this deck. 2-cost 3/3, and on attack we have to disclose aggression, and if we don't, we have to deal 2 damage to our base. This may be a downside to some other decks, but we really want to disclose with our leader, so it's really like attacking for 3 and then a ping. This gets to do a damage to a unit, so it's not to a base per se, but you're attacking for 3, and then if you're running it into something with 4 health, you can just knock it out and defeat it. Bamboozle is an easy way to discard a card that will trigger our Padme. It will exhaust a unit, and it will also get rid of any upgrades that are on a unit as well, too, by returning them to the owner's hand. Faith in Your Friends is a very situational card in some decks, but it's pretty ideal first turn play with this deck because what it does is it allows us to pay it for 2. We get to search the top 3 cards of our deck for any one card, then draw it. Once we've done that, then we can disclose Cunning, 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 Heroism, Heroism. And if we are able to do that, we get to create 2 spy tokens. So the way that this plays out in most games is we get 2 2/2s or 2 0/2s with raid 2, and we get a free ping with Padme. So if there's something with 1 hit point left, we can just take that out. Or if they play like a Death Star Stormtrooper, we just take it out. Since this is an aggressive deck, we're going with Surprise Strike as well, +3/+0 for an attack. Classic, just we want to get in as much damage as possible with this deck. Anakin Skywalker, I've been a little bit on the fence whether I want to keep this in or not, but the turn 2 attack for 5, it's just a little bit too good for me to take that out. I really like it quite a bit. One of the other versions I was thinking about going with was playing the Furtive Handmaiden again, and then putting the Rey back in, but I just think that's kind of taking a step backwards, and if I'm going to do that, I'd really like to have another good 1-drop, something like a Greedo, and that could be a way to go. If you want to try doing that, by all means, feel free to do so. You could get rid of the Anakins, and I'm not really sure what else. I mean, you can play around with it if that's the way you would like to go, but if you want even like lower to the ground, you can do that. I did put in 2 copies of Cassian. It's a great way to close the game out. We can play it from our resource row with Smuggle for 5, and it comes into play ready as a 3/5, so nothing to dislike there. I did just recently add in the Ebonhawk because in testing this has been pretty amazing because it's a 3/3 and in space and I'll attack. And this deck, the only thing we're going to focus on is disclosing Heroism since we don't have a villainy card. We disclose Heroism. This is going to get +2/+0, and we add in a ping from Padme, so we're attacking for 5, very similar to Anakin. It's just a lot of extra pressure, plus we're able to incorporate a Padme ping. That's been really great in my testing. It doesn't stick around very long, obviously, just with the 3 hit points, but with the disclosed, it's been fantastic. Marin is a good way to get rid of opposing ground units. Well, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be ground units, but since we're primarily focused on the ground, that's generally what it does. You can discard and defeat something in space with the 2 damage from the unattacked discard as well. So if you want to look at it like this, you're discarding a card from your hand to get to basically daring raid something. That's Marin's effect. Another ready card right away is Millennium Falcon 3/4 in space, classic from set 1. It enters play ready, and we have to pay 1 during the regroup phase, or we have to return it back to our hand. The idea of this is it's just a good way to get in the last 3 points, or we can play it early game as well too, just to get some extra pressure in here. One other way I've been thinking about playing this is the space version, because I think there's plenty of good space units that you could pair with this. Something like Stolen AT Hauler, maybe Fireball, the Lightmaker, Ebonhawk, Millennium Falcon. There's a lot of good choices. The new A-Wing. You could make a space version of this very easily as well. We have 2 copies of Sudden Ferocity, which I've also found this plot card to be pretty good. 3 cost, +3/+0. It may not look like a ton, but sometimes it's been good enough to, depending on how we do this, sometimes it's been able to finish games off. So I like the card. It's been good enough to keep in there. If you wanted to switch it out for something else, by all means, feel free to do so. This is just what I've been using. I do have 2 copies of Lightmaker because I absolutely love the Raid 4, and I'm hoping that, and as I've been playing anyway, our other space units deal so much pressure that they have to be dealt with. And usually what ends up happening is when I stick a Light Maker with the Raid 4, it ends up being one of our finishers. So I've really enjoyed it. I think it's fantastic. One of the other ways that we finish the game off is with a Poe, but we'll get to that after Plo Koon. Plo Koon is a good way for us to kind of clear something out of the way in the ground. 5 cost, 3/6 with ambush, but it has coordinate raid 3. So if we've got 3 or more units in play, we get to enable that coordinate and give this raid 3, which is almost 100% of the time. Very seldom when I've played Plo Koon do I have less than 3 in play. This deck is really good at getting on the board and staying on the board, so really like this quite a bit. Poe is fantastic. It's one of our primary finishers in this deck. 5 cost 6/6, which is great stats. And if you don't know this one, it's from set 2, but we can discard up to 3 cards from our hand. If we do, we've got these different effects. We can deal 2 damage to a unit or a base, we can defeat an upgrade, or we can make an opponent discard a card from their hand. We can only do each of those once, but still you can discard up to 3 cards and get those effects. Primarily, the most used one is the 2 damage, so I just like to consider that an 8-point attack when I do that most of the time. And I have 1 copy of Acinta Kaz in the main, just for when I deploy Padme. There are times where I have played Padme and flip Cinta and attack with something else, which it's been good, but generally it's been with Padme. It's not like the absolute craziest thing. Honestly, you could probably build without it if you wanted, but it's been not bad. Leaving a 5/5 behind to attack the next turn is pretty good. Sideboard, we've got 2 copies of Unmasking the Conspiracy. This one I picked because it makes us discard as well too. And so the way that I'm looking at this is we're going to pay 1, we're going to discard a card from our hand, and we get to look at our opponent's hand and make them discard a card from it. Really the way that this works is we're trading this card plus the worst card in our hand for the best card in our opponent's hand and a ping from Padme. Is it worth it? I think so. You could run Spark of Rebellion if you wanted to, but I like being able to get the ping off of this as well. Generally, the games that I bring in Unmasking the Conspiracy, I bring in the MiGs as well. We don't have a ton of ways for self-discard, but after siding, we've got Unmasking, we've got Bamboozle, we've got Bail, we've got Chopper. Just double checking here that I'm not missing anything else. We've got Poe. So I'm usually good with when I bring in Unmasking, I usually bring in MiGs, because worst case we can always deal 2 damage to a base. I've got 2 copies of Outmaneuver for the space decks, just a way to clear up their board, and 3 copies of Waylay just to get rid of anything that may be pesky in the way. One other thing I was thinking about doing was going with For a Cause I Believe In and going Spare the Target, but there's just too much that doesn't have a heroism, so I decided to skip that. Yes, I know I've done a lot of videos with Padme. This is going to be the last one for this leader, and I really like this list quite a bit. If I were going to play in a tournament, this is what I would play right now, for 2 reasons. 1, aggro usually tends to do best when there's a new set that's introduced. And 2, it's been working well. So I'm going to stick with it. Luckily, I do have enough of these cards where I can build this right now. And yeah, I'm probably going to play this. When this video comes out, I will most likely be at my local game store playing this deck, because this is going to be coming out on the Sunday where I will be playing. But yeah, that's it for this deck. I promise no more Padme. This is the last one. You have my word on that. unless you request to see a different version, different aspect, maybe like a space version or something. But last thing I'd like to ask for is if you could please like and subscribe. It definitely helps me out a lot. Still a pretty new content creator, so if you can do those things, it definitely helps me out quite a bit, and I would really appreciate it. And I also want to say thanks for the support that you guys have given me as well. Very much appreciate it. And it really keeps me going. So, other than that, just want to say, may the force be with you, my friends. I hope you are well. And thanks for checking out the content. Be well, my friends. Take care.